Chapter 1996. The north wind is like a knife. The setting sun is like blood. In the weak water sea, the battle is still going on fiercely. Although the strong men on both sides were not fighting each other, they were not really fighting for their lives. Because in this incident, they were not the protagonists, they were just invited to help. The Deep Blue Kingdom just wants to work with humans to complete the Seal of Mammon. So they are more reserved. However, Xuanwu, Li Changgong, and Suzaku could not hold back during the battle with the electric eel. If they made the slightest mistake, they would really die. Moreover, the giant electric eel showed no mercy to humans. It regarded them as Zhang Yi's accomplices and wanted to devour them all. The electric eel dived directly into the ocean, stirring up the tides with its huge body. Its streamlined body was extremely flexible in the sea water, and Xuanwu was stretched to the limit. After a while, he was entangled by the huge body of the electric eel. Lightning suddenly appeared below the weak water abyss, and Xuanwu suddenly felt his whole body twitching. The electric eel discharged electricity while tightening its force, and it looked like it was going to crush Xuanwu. It's not good to continue like this. My body is almost unable to move, Xuanwu's spirit said to Li Changgong and Suzaku. Fortunately, my tortoise shell is strong enough, and it can't break through my defense for a while. But if the battle continues for a long time, the inside of my tortoise shell can't bear it. Li Changgong held the long sword and said, "Looks like I have to end the battle. Can you do it?" Xuanwu and Zhuke looked at Li Changgong with some doubt. Even though he entered the Deep Blue Kingdom and got some improvements, Li Changgong's ability index was only 24,000 points, which was a huge gap from the giant electric eel. Especially underwater, the gap between the two sides will be more obvious. It doesn't matter. It's better if it can ignore me. Li Changgong chose to leave the protection of Xuanwu. It was indeed inconvenient for him to move under the weak water. Only deep water creatures could move in this place, and humans had no place to swim. He had to use a steel cable to connect himself to the Xuanwu. Once he was thrown away, he would sink under the Ruoshui. At this point, they had no other choice. If they ever need help from the Deep Blue Kingdom or Zhang Yi, the three of them will not be able to face anyone. If you want to be respected, you must show enough strength. After Li Changgong left Xuanwu's body, he stared at the electric eel that was strangling Xuanwu with its whole body. "You are my token of allegiance." Li Changgong stepped on Xuanwu's back and chopped at the electric eel with the long knife in his hand. But the electric eel is also a highly intelligent creature, and it noticed Li Changgong the moment he appeared. It had seen Li Changgong's sword, so it twisted its body around Xuanwu's, its huge, sticky body spinning. At this time, if Li Changgong's sword is not stable, he might accidentally injure Xuanwu. The unable to move Xuanwu was only holding on by relying on its defensive power. But Li Changgong's chop would instantly cut through its defense. Crackle. The electric eel released a powerful electric current underwater. Fortunately, Li Changgong was smart enough to add an insulating layer to his combat uniform so that he was not burned into charcoal by the electric current. However, most of the electronic equipment on the combat uniforms had lost their function and could not communicate with Xuanwu. At this moment, he was in the dark abyss of weak water and could only rely on his own strength. Faced with this deep-sea monster that is hundreds of meters long, the key is whether you can find a way to inflict fatal damage to it. Call. Changgong took a deep breath, clenched the knife in his hand, and swept forward along the shell of the black tortoise, aiming directly at the huge body of the electric eel. Whoosh! Before he could draw his knife, the huge electric eel displayed a speed that was completely inconsistent with its body speed. A black light flashed before his eyes, and the electric eel's body disappeared. Its head was located near the head of the black tortoise, and it looked at the longbow with a teasing look. Bang! The water surged wildly, and the electric eel's thick tail swept the longbow fiercely from behind. Just by feeling the huge waves on the seabed, one can imagine how terrifying the power of this blow is. Even an aircraft carrier would capsize on the spot if it was hit. Changgong instinctively wanted to escape, because if this blow hit his body, he would surely die. But suddenly, He overcame his inner fear with a strong mind. It's hard for me to catch up with its speed underwater, but its attack on me is actually my best chance to fight back. Should we try to fight it? As long as I react quickly enough and use the flying cloud step to escape the moment the blade hits it, I will have a chance to kill it. This is an extremely dangerous behavior. The speed of thinking is faster than matter, and the time it takes to generate an impulse is less than 0.1 second. It was this split-second decision that made Changong resist the urge to escape and decide to give it a try, risking his life. The man did not run away, but turned around and raised the knife to aim at the electric eel's tail. The electric eel never thought that this human would have such courage. Even if you have the ability to cut off a hair, it's still too stupid to do this. Cutting off the tail is not a big harm to the electric eel. Its body is large enough, and it has strong recovery ability. But that tiny human being can be swept away hundreds of miles by the tsunami caused by just a breath. Madness. In an instant, the sea snake's tail pulled the longbow closer. The moment the terrifying tail approached his body, Changong's body entered an extremely strange state. His limbs were a little cold, and a chill permeated his blood. It was a reaction to being in an extremely dangerous situation. But it just so happened that the instinctive fear had reached its limit, making the brain more clear and the thinking more transparent. When creatures are in desperate situations, their potential will be developed. He raised the knife and started to chop, with a strong desire to die in his heart. However, due to excessive fear, he forgot about fear and forgot everything else. He only remembered that he should chop with the knife and did not dare to think about the price of failure. A simple knife, with endless deathly intent, touched the electric eel's tail. Changong even forgot that he should choose to keep his distance at this moment. But as expected, the tail was cut cleanly, but his body was not deformed by the remaining force of the tail. As the blade touched the electric eel's tail, piercing through the thick scales and flesh like a piece of tofu, an extremely strong sense of death spread. The north wind is like a knife. The setting sun is like blood, and I am the will of heaven, the broken will. But this time it's no longer a matter of dissection, but of spreading. Chapter 1997. The trend is determined. A hint of death blossomed at the tip of the eye, like the stamen of a fresh flower blooming. In an instant, the electric eel's huge tail exploded in the weak water with a bang. Blood and flesh spread out, and tiny cracks started from the electric eel's tail and quickly extended towards its body. Not only on the surface, but also from the inside of the flesh and blood, it is corroding the body of the electric eel. The electric eel felt a stinging pain, but that was not the end. Soon its more than 10-meter-long tail turned into powder. The severe pain caused it to roar angrily, and it couldn't help but loosen its hold on Xuanwu. But just when it was about to kill the 3 humans in front of it, it was shocked to feel the severe pain from its tail was still spreading. Soon, half of its body turned into flesh and blood and dissipated. That power is spreading. Damn it. The electric eel's vertical pupils shrank, and without any hesitation, it shot out a sharp bolt of lightning from the blue horns on its head, splitting its body in half. After abandoning nearly half of its body, the corrosive force completely disappeared. Xuanwu felt restrained. Seeing that half of the electric eel's body was destroyed and blood was flowing into the weak water abyss, he immediately seized the opportunity and opened his mouth wide. The black light cannon condensed and fired decisively at the electric eel's body. Suzaku also activated his own ice flame at the same time. The blue flames spread in the dark seawater, devouring the electric eel's life force. Boom! The energy exploded and directly hit the severely injured electric eel, causing it to let out a shrill scream. Far away, the other 3 deep-sea monsters of Atlantis that were fighting were a little surprised when they heard the shouting. Is Kruga so helpless? He was forced to this extent by 3 humans on land. Its strength is too weak, and it should have been kicked out of our ranks long ago. It's a shame, but... The sea snake that was fighting with the giant pink starfish raised its head and looked into the distance. There were rumbling thunder and dark clouds in the distant sky. It felt 2 extremely terrifying auras colliding with each other. It seems like the battle over there is over. I didn't expect that the guy from the Wulwan Empire would lose. We were originally invited by him to come to the Gwayan tribe's heritage. Now that the people of the Wulwan Empire are dead, there is no need for us to continue fighting. Let's get out of here. The battle between the Siren Claude and Prince Festival was in full swing, but after sensing the fall of Pokong, it was shocked and quickly decided to take its people away. Moo. A terrifying roar similar to the mooing of a cow came from its mouth, and the sound could be heard far away in the weak water abyss. At the same time, the other 3 sea beasts from Atlantis received this information. It's time to retreat. The battle between the 3 sea beasts was also very fierce. They all had serious injuries on their bodies, especially the giant moray eel Kruga, which had half of its body broken off. Upon receiving the order to retreat, it immediately swung its huge body in the sea and rushed towards its own camp. The 3 Xuanwis did not continue to chase. Although they fought a beautiful turnaround battle, even with the concentrated strength of the 3, they were unable to completely seize the initiative on the battlefield. If they fought to the death, the outcome would be unknown. The key point was that the sea eel would definitely not give Li Chonggong another chance to attack like this. Atlantis's behemoth retreated, and on the side of the Deep Blue Kingdom, the huge gray-blue octopus, General Yu, hummed angrily and played an unpleasant tune, intending to chase after it. But Prince Ji stopped it. Don't chase them. If it's a fight to the death, we may not be able to gain much advantage. Let them go. General Yu made an unwilling sound. These guys almost ruined our plan. If the seal of Mammon were to be loosened, the Deep Blue Kingdom would face an unimaginable doomsday. Prince Festival also wanted to kill these guys, but the difference in strength between the 2 sides was indeed very small. Fighting desperately, the victory was also a Pyrrhic victory. We have more important things to do, he said in a deep voice. General Yu then waved his 8 octopus claws unwillingly, making a threatening gesture. They watched as the behemoths of Atlantis sank to the bottom of the sea and then left the area through tunnels under the deep sea. After they left, Ojisai, General Yu, and the giant pink starfish all lost their sea beast forms. The 3 people turned into a special humanoid creature with a human upper body and a fish lower body. Their bodies looked not much different from humans, and they were all wearing clothes made of special materials. At this time, Zhang Yi had already killed Pokong in a head-on confrontation, collected his origin, and rushed over. The battlefield where Yang Xinxin and others were located had already completely seized the initiative. Zhang Yi was not worried about them at all. Whether in terms of armed forces or the number and level of high-level mutants, Tianhai's team was no less than that of the Wulwan Empire. These people can stand on their own without him. The battlefield was stretched out, and all kinds of high-tech artillery emitted colorful lights in the sky. The Snow Owl mech and Uncle Yu continuously spewed out powerful firepower. Hua Hua and Liang Yu rushed to the front of the battle formation and engaged in a close and desperate fight with the 2 silver-armored generals of the Wulwan Empire. Hua Hua's fighting style is still rough, and its beast instinct makes it a natural hunter. It does not need humans to teach it. It can kill strong enemies with its strong physique, agile body, sharp teeth, and claws. Liang Yu's fighting style is extremely elegant, and watching her fight is a complete enjoyment. Her opponent is a strengthened silver-armored general. The 2 of them fought, and after a long confrontation, it only took 3 moves to decide the winner. In a close combat, life and death can be decided by a millimeter. The first blow of her sword broke the armor, the second blow cut off the arm, and the third blow directly killed the silver-armored general of the Black Chariot level. By the time Zhang Yi arrived, the situation on the battlefield had become almost one-sided. Seeing this, Zhang Yi had no interest in entering the venue, but just stood in the distant sky, holding a ball of breaking the air and Jihong's origin in his hands. Such a scene instantly brought endless despair to the group of silver-armored generals. One of the most powerful aliens in the Wulwan Empire, Pokong, who was hailed as the most powerful contender for the next marshal, actually died just like that. In order to prepare for the day they had planned for a long time, came here in advance to set up an ambush and dispatched a large number of experts to support the battle. They thought it was a sure kill, but in the end it wasn't Zhang Yi's team that died, but them. Dear viewers, thanks for staying with me. We'll try to get you more updates. Please like and subscribe and share the video with your friends. Love you all.